And that report from our correspondent Ariel Osaran in Poland. And now from Poland, we go across to Germany and we welcome Ruth Wasserman Lande, Israeli parliament member in the Blue and White Party. Ruth, thank you so much for your time on this day. So you are in Berlin with the March of the Life organization, and this year's event is being held in partnership with the International March of the Living organization. I understand you're going to be addressing a group that unites Nazi descendants with Holocaust survivors and local Jews and Christians. Tell us more.
So first of all, I'm also a member of the Christian Allies for Israel caucus in the Knesset. And as a representative of the Israeli Knesset, I'm here. I already spoke at an event after a march. There are many marches, not only in Poland, but also in Germany and in other countries in the world, even in South America, that this March of the Living is organizing. And all of these people are in fact, or the vast majority of them, are Christians who have some kind of a connection, either in their families to Nazis, to Nazi collaborators, or in some Latin American countries they've hosted or hidden Nazi people from the Second World War. And those people, in fact, they look into their past, try to deal somehow psychologically with the shock of having somebody in their family or something in their past perpetrators in the Holocaust. And then they, in fact, dedicate their entire life to supporting Israel, to fighting bigotry and anti-Semitism. And that is something extraordinarily special and very, very touching. I must say, I was deeply touched by this event.
It certainly sounds fascinating hearing these different paths and how people are connecting right now. In 2022, we know, and I'm sure you have heard about the reports that anti-Semitism is on the rise in different countries around the globe, and that awareness about the Holocaust is more crucial now than ever. Talk to us about the significance of these events that you're taking part in this year, making sure that future generations understand what happened in the Holocaust, and as you're explaining it, people from all different walks of life, all different religions, all different parts of the world.
I think it is extremely important to speak and not stop speaking. The Holocaust survivors are becoming fewer and fewer, and we have the responsibility. We have the responsibility to explain that, thank God for Israel, a Jew, wherever he or she may be throughout the world, has a safe haven. On the one hand. On the other hand, we need to speak out against bigotry and anti-Semitism. And it is, in fact, on the rise. And it is extremely important that all friends of Israel, whether Jewish, Arab, as we saw now the delegation in Poland, in your previous statements, and of course Israelis, speak out against what had happened and against any kind of anti-Semitic activity throughout the world. This is key to understand that words have power, and we must not allow this kind of bigotry and anti-Semitism to be and play a role in today's society.
There is so much concern about the fact that young people don't have much of an interest in hearing the stories about exactly what happened, and the significance of having Holocaust survivors being able to share their stories and their experiences if they are comfortable to do so. What is your sense, not only being in Germany now, but you've worked around the world as well, about the way Israel is perceived right now and the way people understand, young people understand the significance of why Israel is so important right now?
So, in fact, just a couple of days ago in Berlin, where I'm at the moment, there was a significant demonstration against Israel, very far from legitimate. People in it called for the destruction of the state of Israel. In fact, saying that what is being done by anti-Semites needs to be done in a greater manner in fact, calling for the destruction of the state of Israel 74 or 77 years after the actual idea to eliminate Jews from the world. And this is something that is important to say. It is important to speak to young people. This is the beauty of this organization, that in fact takes people that are young, that are either grandchildren of perpetrators, Nazi perpetrators, and they themselves are then in a kind of a rapport or a relationship or a speech to other young people, impressing upon them the need to understand that words have power, that anti-Semitism is not just an antagonistic way of speaking about people, but it can lead to horrific deeds, and that we cannot stay silent, that staying silent is actually being a part and parcel of this bigotry. And the beauty is that these young people are talking to their counterparts, and we have to continue to do this. We have to continue the journeys that young people, both Arab and Jewish in Israel, make annually and, of course, throughout the world. This is an important part of the commemoration and honoring those 6 million that have perished in the Holocaust.